What? Can you see it? I don't know if you can see it.
So you've decided that you're gonna raise turkeys on your homestead. But now the question is, what kind of turkeys are you gonna raise? Well, today I wanna tell you about the production breeds and the heritage breeds, the pros and cons of each one, and maybe give you an idea of which one you should choose to raise on your homestead. First off, let's talk about the production breeds. So that would be your broad-breasted bronze, your broad-breasted white turkeys, and this year one that we're raising is the broad-breasted artisan black that we were able to get through McMurray Hatchery. Now, the pros of these are pretty obvious. They were bred to be meat producers, right? They grow fast. For maturity, the age is between 20 and 24 weeks. So you're only talking about 5 to 6 months. So that means you can start in like May, maybe April, June, somewhere in that time frame, and you should have a decent sized turkey by the time Thanksgiving rolls around. Now, there are some cons that go with this. One, because they're a production breed, they're not bred to forage. They're bred to sit in front of a feed trough, eat their feed, and put on the weight. So that means that when you put them out on grass like this, it's gonna take them a little bit longer to grow. And that's not always a bad thing. So another con is that they're not sustainable. You cannot naturally breed these commercial breeds. They have to be artificially inseminated. So you can't take a big, broad, bronze-breasted turkey male and breed him because his breast just gets way too big. That's what you're raising them for, is that breast meat. So you can't keep the breed going. Now, one positive thing that you could do is if you have a heritage breed male, you could breed that to a production female. Now, again, your breed is going to be muddied. It's not going to be a bronze breasted, and it's not going to be that heritage breed. It's going to be a combination of the two, but might not make a bad turkey. So another thing about these commercial breeds, they eat a lot of food. Because you're not allowing them to really forage and move around a lot, you're basically going to be pouring feed to them. You're going to start out with a 28% protein starter feed for the chicks or the poults. And then as they get older, you'll switch over to like a 20% grower feed, which is basically like your chick starter for your meat birds. And then if you want to finish them off, you can eventually turn them over to like a 16%, like almost like how a laying feed is. Now, when you talk about the production breeds, we have raised both the bronze broad-breasted and the white broad-breasted turkey. This year we're trying a new breed, and that is the broad-breasted artisan black from McMurray. Now, the reason why we're doing these guys is because they're supposed to be more like a heritage breed. They're supposed to be able to forage a little bit better. Now, the only problem with that is their weight does come in a little bit smaller. The toms will only get to about 20 pounds, and the hens will only get to about 12 to 15. So you're definitely getting a smaller bird, but they are supposed to reach maturity level faster than a heritage breed. Okay, so let's talk about heritage breeds. Now, there's several different kinds. This guy right here, or this girl right here, this is a Royal Palm. There's also Narragansetts, bourbon reds, there's chocolates, there's blue slates, there's a ton of different types. Now, in the past, we've raised blue slates, we've raised Narragansetts before, and I believe we've even raised some bourbon reds or some chocolates, some type of a brown one. But I will say that if you're going to raise heritage breeds, your goal needs to be more about sustainability than it is about just meat production. Now, there are pros and there's cons to these guys. The pros, obviously, it's a sustainable thing. You can breed these guys every year. They'll lay 50 to 100 eggs each year, And if you've got a tom in there, you'll have fertilized eggs. It's because the boys don't get nearly as big as the production breeds. Now, more of the pros with a heritage breed. One, they're way more tasty. You know, the production breeds, they're bred just for the amount of meat, not the quality of meat. Where the heritage breeds, you're gonna have a more flavorful, tasty bird. Now, another thing that's a positive is they do forage. They walk around, they get all the bugs, get all the protein that they need from the ground, and we supplement them with feed, so it's not as huge of a feed expense as you would with the commercial breed. So another positive thing with heritage breeds is they tend to be a lot more docile. You know, the commercial breeds, the production breeds, they are very stately, they look beautiful. They can't really move around much, but they do get really territorial. You'll see them puff up and get really nice and pretty. But I've been attacked by a production breed, a broad-breasted, and I will tell you, it's a little scary. But with the heritage breeds, they're not nearly as big. They only get, I guess most of the toms will only get in the 25-ish range, and the females will get somewhere in the 12 to 15 pound range. Now, there is an exception to that rule, and that is this guy. This is a Narragansett. Now, the Narragansetts are a heritage breed, but the boys will get up in the 35-ish range as far as live weight goes, and the females will get into the 20 pound range. So that's a nice size bird. The nice thing about heritage birds is that when they build out, you know, when they're growing out, it's a lot more even of a bird. Just like with the broiler chicks that grow into chickens, those guys are mostly all breast and just very feeble legs. With the production breeds, it's kind of the same thing. They end up with this huge turkey breast, which is usually what most people are looking for. So, but then the legs are not very, you know, well filled out. With these heritage breeds, you get a way more even bird. You don't have to pour as much feed to them, and it's a sustainable source of poultry, right? Who are you calling? Now, we've raised both production breeds and we've raised heritage breeds. So the question is, which breed do you choose? Do you go with production or do you go with sustainable? And our answer here on the homestead, obviously, is both. Because at least when you're getting started, it's nice to have a few production breeds so that you can see those birds by the end of the season go on your table. Whereas with the heritage breeds, you can keep those going, and by the following year, you'll have birds that you can raise up for meat and to keep your supply going. Thank you for stopping by the Big Bear Homestead. God bless. Have a nice day.